Hi, it is early in the morning, so before I go to work, I'd like to share with you something really important today. And that critical and important thing is what is Wing Chun Kuen? Okay, so what is Wing Chun Kuen? Now, those of you who follow me in my YouTube channel and reading the book Wing Chun Matrix know that I quote General Qi Ji Guang, I cite General Tang Sun Zhi, I cite the Shaolin Sword Strike canon. Okay, so Shaolin Sword Strike canon. Now, there are still questions. Like people always ask me, well, you cite all those ancient documents, but no in there state clearly in words by words saying that there is a term Wing Chun Kuen. Okay? So you say that all this ancient document do not write the term Wing Chun Kuen. The second thing is, people will often say, oh, you can cite all this book, but this is only your point of view. Okay? And there's other type will say, well, you have an agenda to put down a certain lineage and to promote certain lineage. And then there are other things saying that, hey, you are already retired. Why do you talk about Wing Chun Kuen? You retire from Wing Chun Kuen. Why do you talk about Wing Chun Kuen? So I like to reply that today with all this data. Okay? Like what? Like in the university. Okay? So we talk in a university educational way. Okay? Now, as for I'm retired, yes, I'm retired from Wing Chun Kuen. But that doesn't make me cannot talk about Wing Chun Kuen history or whatever my research. For example, we go to the religious studies department in any university. The professor in the comparison religions or religious study do not have to be a Buddhist to talk about Buddhism. Or a Buddhist in that department, the Buddhist professor, okay, he can be a Buddhist and he say, well, I retire from Buddhism. I do not want to be a Buddhist anymore. I change my religions. He still be able to teach Buddhism because what he teach is facts. Okay, based on sutta, based on data. So, yes, I'm retired, but I'm presenting data. That's simple. Okay? So actually there's nothing to do with retire or not retire. Data is data. Like the professor in the comparison religions department of the university. You don't have to be Buddhist to teach the Buddhism class or talk about Zen Buddhism. Okay? So that's number one. So get this personal dependency away from it because we want to solve problem. Okay, we do not create problem for argue and debating sake. Okay, now that's number one. Number two, why is it so important to make clear that what is Wing Chun Kuen is solidly understood? Well, let me show you what. If you go to YouTube, you just type in Xiong Chen Chen. Okay, Xiong Chen Chen, the single arm boxer who defeat the Wing Chun Sifu, you can see all the lists down there about he's talking about Wing Chun. Okay, and this continue on. Okay, and then over here he said that boxing hero Xiong Chen Chen, who just used one hand to KO Wing Chun master. Read that. Okay, read that. And then he said that he trained 7 years in Wing Chun, but he cannot. He cannot even par with the boxing, Western boxing. Okay. And then up there he said that because of hungry you cannot fight. Okay, where is your martial arts spirit? And then over here it said that the cripple, the one hand boxer defeat KO the Wing Chun Sifu, and traditional martial art become crippled. Okay, and then he said that here he said that he defeated Wing Chun, and then this the Xiong Chen Chen said, oh, I trained really hard the traditional Chinese martial art. Have you really trained that way, so forth? So this is in YouTube. This is a public interview. If Wing Chuner or Wing Chun do not clear out what is Wing Chun, this is sticking in YouTube forever. Okay, this is your image. If you look at Wing Chun as a corporations. Well, so we want to talk about what is Wing Chun, not to challenge anybody, not to put down any lineages or anything, but to clear out what is Wing Chun. So when Xiong Chen Chen and so forth talk about this in China and the entire China see it, you are Wing Chuner, or you practice Wing Chun, or you investigate Wing Chun, you know what it is. You know what people talk is truth by facts, or he just by his opinion. That is the bottom line of educations. Okay. However, if anybody study the topic like Buddhism or Wing Chun the same, do not know that solidly, tangibly, let's face it, this is in public. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people see this. Are you going to argue with hundreds, thousands, or millions of people? And of course, you're going to get doubt in your heart. What is Wing Chun? Can Wing Chun is a real deal, or a whole bunch of stuff? Okay? So that's how important it is. Now, let's get into what is Wing Chun. If you go to, let's start with something simple. Movie. Yip Man movie. This is a Yip Man movie second, the second. There's a scene over there saying that Wing Chun is, this is called 南方贴身短打的一种. Okay, in English, okay, it say that Wing Chun is a version, or a derivations of the southern Chinese sticking body short strike, or sticking body short strike. 贴身 meaning stick at your body. Stick. 贴身 means stick. Okay, stick body short strike. You say that. Okay. So this is in Yip Man 2 movie. What is Wing Chun? Wing Chun is defined clearly as a type or a version of the southern Chinese sticking body short strike. Okay, 贴身短打 meaning stick, 贴 means stick. Okay, 身 meaning body, 短打 短 meaning short. Da meaning strike. Okay? Now, that's the definition of that. Now, if you go to the Google, you Google 贴身短打 and Wing Chun, you can come up list from different lineage and different school, all saying Wing Chun is 贴身短打. Okay, sticking body, short strike. You further go to other TV series or anything, it just also is going to say that 贴身短打. This is a Yip Man TV series. Okay, so here it say 贴身短打. Okay, see that this 贴身短打. Okay, 贴身短打. Now, it is clearly defined 贴身短打. So, for example, it is like you talk about the iPhone iOS. Then iPhone iOS, say iOS 12 right now. Well, iOS 12 is a version of iOS. Okay, and iOS from where? It's from Apple Corporations. Now, so what is Wing Chun? Wing Chun is a version of 贴身短打, or a version of Southern China's 贴身短打. Okay, so it's one version of it. So it's like iOS. This is say the version 12 of iOS. Do you want to know what is iOS when you want to talk about iOS 12? Well, logically, we want to find out what is iOS. You heard what people say, this is iOS version 12. This is Wing Chun is a version of 贴身短打. iOS 12 is a version of iOS. Do you want to find out what is the iOS? Well, if you want to find out what is iOS, disregard a version, because that is the platform, the key. Anybody claim to be iOS has to satisfy the platform of iOS. And you know that if you're going down there, you're going to dig up the whole thing and you get into Apple Computer Incorporations. You know iOS is created in Cupertino here, Apple Computer, and you know the characteristic of iOS. It is not Androids from Google. It is not Microsoft Windows. Okay. Now, so we look at the entire ancient China's history. Okay, this is a machine learning era. Like in Amazon.com, they have this machine learning software service. You can get into that. Microsoft, you can see the AI design, those kind of stuff too. So today is everything there. Now you fit in all this thing to see what it is. It's data. Okay, so if we want to know what is iOS, we look at data, and data is not point of view. Okay, data is not a point of view. Data is data. Okay, from data you can let the data talk to you by the data itself show the pattern. That's what machine learning do. It be able to see the pattern there, the characteristic, the uniqueness there, and you can see the insight there. Okay, so we go to the data in China, check what is 贴身短打, sticking body short strike. We check what it is. No point of view, Okay, we want to know what is the basis, because if you do not know what is 贴身短打, if we do not know what is iOS, how are we going to talk about iOS 12? How are we know that iOS 12 is iOS? Okay, so as in the Wing Chun Matrix books, so we go into 1560s. General Qi Ji Guang, General Tang Sun Zhi. Over here, it clearly wrote down what is sword strike. Okay, the Chinese Ming Dynasty, it clearly wrote down here too. Now, this is 1560s. Okay, so there's a lot of document here. Okay, talk about the short strike. Define. Okay, so if we look at that, Wing Chun is defined as a version of sticking body short strike, and in 1560 we trace it down there. What is a short strike? What does the Chinese mean when they say this is short strike? Okay, now the short strike have a characteristics. So if you look at the the last photo or drawing of the General Qi Ji Guang here, you look at something like the Bong Sao here. There's a writing. This is called quid, and this is the drawing. Now, at 1560, there's no YouTube at that time. So General Qi Ji Guang in this writing, he said that now I draw the diagram for you, and I wrote down the key point for you, so that you who come later be able to practice and learn this. Okay, they don't have YouTube. Okay, so they do that. Over here, it is about short strike, and you talk about the body, how the body has to be manual. You know, one thing is you have to the lean in. Okay, this is called you have to lean in. Lean, the body has to lean in. Okay, in the short strike. And then over here you talk about, like people today talk about guan, lan, jie. Okay, guan, like the guan. Okay, rolling guan, lan, like lan sao, guan sao, lan sao. And then jie is cover. You talk about that, and you talk about how the body has to lean in, because there's short strike. When you have to get the close body, you have to lean in. Now, you have that, okay? Now, when you get to 1784, there's another book from Shaolin, and this is a real deal book going through all the scrutinize of the Chinese historian. It wrote clearly here, Shaolin short strike. Okay, Shaolin short strike. It defined for you clearly here. Sticking body. Sticking body. What is sticking body? Okay. It defined and described for you clearly. Okay. Clearly how to do those kind of stuff. For example, over here you say that your body handling, your shoulder, okay, has to do what, your elbow has to do what, your butt has to do what, your waist has to do what, and then when you shoot in, okay, your feet has to do what, okay. and how to stick. Tie, stick. Now, we found out what is Tie Sen Tuan Da, which is consistently from what? 1560s to 1784. Now, in between that, the General Qi Ji Guang book, because it's a precious book, it get to where? It spread out to Japan, today's Japan, and Korea. We can track it down. Look at that thing. Like the Guan Sao stuff. Okay? Now this is between 1560 and 1784. Clearly define what is sticking body short strike. When you get to 1930, this is another version of short strike. Another version of short strike. By a Buddhist monk over here. It defined also. Okay, clearly it says short strike. The important is your footwork and your body work. Meaning, like we know from General Qi Guang, you have to lean in, twist, and all those kind of stuff is clearly defined here. Now, we know what is sticking body short strike. We know what is Tie Sen Tuan Da. Okay? We know what is Tie Sen Tuan Da. It's not anybody's point of view. It's not anybody's opinion. Since 1560s to 1930s, we are very different angle. We know what it is. That is Tie Sen Tuan Da. And what we know the uniqueness, we know how it need to be performed. So, this Tie Sen Tuan Da is not just, oh, every martial art have punching, kicking, throwing, and capturing. No. Because this is a different type of momentum uniqueness handling. It's just like, you know, you cannot say, oh, every operating system is just, executions of instructions. Okay, it just you store your data, you add your data, and so forth. No, iOS is iOS. Sure, iOS using those instructions, adding data, those kind of stuff, interrupt those kind of stuff. So does Android. So does IBM, the Microsoft Windows. But iOS is not Android. It's not the Windows systems. Okay. So you cannot say, oh yeah, you know, this is because of everything is the same. Okay. It is this. It is this. So right now, we already solved the sticking body short strike. We know exactly what it is. Okay. By data, no point of view. By data. Then you ask, so we know there's data, but it doesn't say Wing Chun Kuen. Okay. Then this Vietnam movie and whatever I show you, you Google everybody say Wing Chun Kuen is a type or a version of sticking body short strike or a type of short strike. We know what is the bottom line, the core of it. We know it is, like for example, iOS. We know it is iOS. And the next thing is only we want to know the version. Okay? What record in this book is the concrete of the Yigam passed down for the Xiulin Tao, 1850s. I'm holding this book for 40 years, okay? But it's independent, I hold it for 1,000 years or anything. The key is this. Whatever the content in the 1850s Xiulin Tao writing, you cannot decode it. You cannot fully decode it if it doesn't have the Shaolin short strike definitions. Okay? If it doesn't have the Shaolin short strike definitions, you cannot decode it. You can say, oh yeah, you know, inside there it record Mei, it record White Crane, but without the Shaolin short strike, you cannot know what it is in a full piece, bit and piece here. You say, well, Mei, I train, I develop my body, snake body, fine. White Crane, it look like White Crane, fine, but how is the engine work? It's just like you asking, how is the iOS engine works? You need to get the iOS engine to understand what it is. So this is Wing Chun. Okay? Because this is the oldest up to today. Tomorrow, somebody might come up with an older one. There's a different story. Okay? We can check into that. But today, per today, what we get the data is that. Now, another thing. This is 1972, prior to Grandmaster Yip Man's passing. At this section, if you read carefully, it matches on this thing, the teaching of the Shaolin short strike. So, first, we found out what is sticking body short strike by the Chinese definitions for 500 years. They never change it. It's always there, clearly described. The second, we got the oldest, as we know today, the data of Wing Chun, 1850s. We know that that book cannot be decoded without the Shaolin short strike. We get the 1972. This is a different lineage. We see that. The trace of the Shaolin short strike. It is this clear. It's not my point of view. It is data. You fit this in the machine learning, it's going to tell you that. And if you train, develop that way, you're going to get this type of art. It's called short strike. And different version. Okay? This is the six penetration, 六通短打. So that's what Wing Chun is. And as what I say again, if we claim that we study iOS, we need to know what is iOS. If we claim that we are studying iOS version 12, we better know what is iOS, and we better know what is that version 12 do. What thing does it fix? Okay? This is the engineering way. Otherwise, we are not fixing stuff. We are not saying, oh, this is your point of view, this is my point of view. This is all data analysis. Okay? Like a university. And sure, people can, like in the university, they don't have to agree with it. I never say that people have to follow what I'm saying. But if you want to disagree with it, bring your data, like what I do. Okay? This is the platform. This is what it is. This is the orders, Wing Chun writing, the 1850s. This is the recent Wing Chun writing, 1972. All this inconsistent. You need to get the data like that. And I don't even want to be the judge or the people who judge this thing. You know what? Get the Amazon.com machine learning service, dump this data in and let the machine tell you what it is. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if you don't know this, what are you practicing? If you don't know this, what are you practicing? Let's go back to this again. So is this true? Is it right to talk anything about Wing Chun? And here on everybody have followed him for Wing Chun? So this is important. And as what I say, I like to put this in like the university. Not anybody's opinion. And sure, everybody is entitled for their opinion. Anybody can believe anything they want. They can take Wing Chun as their religions or whatever. That is not my focus. For me, I make it as an education. So it's open for everybody. Like, you want to know iOS version 12? You know first what is iOS. And then you check what is the change of the version 12. Engineering way. So this is to share with you today. In an engineering way, or in a university way, or in the educational way, if this is not straightened out, we really don't know what it is. We cannot say, iOS 12, oh, my view is this, I'm thinking is this, okay, my interpretation is this. You don't do that to iOS. You look at that, what it is what it is. Okay, it's not about point of view, philosophy, or my lineage, or your way of thinking. It's not. It is technology. It is well defined. Okay. So sure, tomorrow if somebody bring out different data and you fit into the machine and it is true, I accept that. However, up to now, to this instant, this seconds, this is what we have. And if you're saying that, the Chi Chi Guang books is not, it did not say exactly Wing Chun Kuen. The Shaolin book doesn't say exactly Wing Chun Kuen. And then you say, let's go check the history. The earliest we can find the writing of Wing Chun Kuen is 1850s. Fit that in. How can you expect to have the whatever exists in around 1850 being written, printed in the 1560s? It doesn't even exist in 1784, the Shaolin canon. And that's why we don't even want to make our opinion, I think so, I believe so. You just put at it, okay? Let the data tell you. It's easier, okay? So it's not about who's lineage and not lineage. That's why I show you. Just take all the data, put it in. That's simple, right? And then only a few days ago, somebody in Europe called me. He said that, Hendrik, there's some grandmaster saying that there's a Xiu Lin Tao 1700 version. Well, I said, well, let him bring up the evidence. Same thing. If you want to claim that 1700 Xiu Lin Tao, is it fit to the sticking body short strike platform? Is it fit to the era of that time? Because the even era 1700, meaning that it is right into the Shaolin short strike cannon era. Okay, it's like you claim that you are the say iOS version 10, and you can equivalent that with the Android certain version, and then you can see is that possible or not. But the first you have to show what is it. You cannot say, well, I claim this is the this such like this book. Well, we cannot just claim that this is 1850. Why we know? Because inside there is the salutations, that is the anti-Qing movement, all this data from different point of view, we know that there is around 1850s. You go to Choi Lei Fat, you can trace that from different angle, you know that. This is 1850s. It is not by anybody's point of view. Okay? So this is for you today. And that's why I constantly tell people, who do what in Wing Chun, wait 50 years. When people see, the future Wing Chun researcher, like the university and so forth, will see different people's agenda very clearly. What is the goals of everybody really clearly, and what is the contribution really clearly. It's as simple as that. However, for me, what I concern is do the research, you present data, let the data speak. Get your opinion out, get the personal out. I can be Buddha, as perfect as a Buddha, or I can be a homeless. It doesn't matter. It is the data. So this is for you today.